Arm Wrestling Q&A Part 8. There are lots of questions about Devon and Dennis, so that match will be discussed in detail. I just looked at the questions, found some interesting ones, took some screenshots, and here I am talking about the questions. So still kind of an impromptu, raw version of a video, unedited. It will be edited but without any cuts. First question, if you could choose any two arm wrestlers in any point in history, what would your dream super match be? For me, it's kind of a simple answer, and I will say prime Andre Pushkar, which could have been anywhere around 2015 or 2016, in my opinion, versus Devon Larrett, prime version. You can say this is the prime version of Devon or 2011, 2010 version of Devon, but this one looks stronger. I know that Pushkar already lost to Devon 5-1. It was a dominant win by Devon, but that was on the left arm. And on the right arm, things could have been a little bit more interesting. We saw how dominant Pushkar was around that time, how fast he was, and Devon has a weakness against his speed. But in super match format, considering that Pushkar's endurance wasn't that great, it would have been amazing to see that super match. And I think it was in 2018 when Pushkar visited USA or Canada, and I think it was in USA, and they practice pulled. Artem recorded the video. At that time, Pushkar was just pinning Devon a couple of times, but then Devon started getting the breaks, just like their super match on the left arm in 2011. I genuinely believe that match could have been interesting. It was one of those matches, it could have been one of those matches where if Devon stops the match, it is immediately over. Pushkar's endurance wasn't great, but the big question that can Devon get the stop on Pushkar just like he did on the left arm? Amazing super match in my opinion. Unfortunately, cannot happen. Pushkar is no longer with us. After Dennis versus Devon match, which arm wrestler would Dennis pull? So it depends if he wins or loses. If he beats Devon, then I will say probably Hermes Gasparini. Makes some sense. And the Zaur match was already offered to Dennis to pull him in Russia. I think he can have that match as well. So these two make sense. And if he loses, then I will say Dave Chaffee, if Dave loses to Devon. And Jerry, that could also be interesting. Flop press versus top roll. I somehow doubt that Dennis will have the hooking ability to grip Jerry low and force him in a hook. In that case, it can be interesting. Lagaya, how many times should an elite super heavyweight compete in a year, balancing entertainment, ranking, relevance, health, etc.? So JR Williams asked kind of a similar question. It was more about titles or mandatory title defenses. I will say for title defense, maybe once a year. Yeah, at least once a year. If you cannot compete in 12 months, irrespective of the reason, unless the promoter himself cancelled the match for some reasons that he cannot deal with, then it makes sense. For entertainment ranking, I think 4 super matches in a year, once every 3 months, to me, it's okay. More than that, it is like if you are available all the time, then your value, your desire goes down. I think that will be applicable to arm wrestlers as well. If you're arm wrestling having a super match every month, let's say Devon is the biggest draw right now. But if Devon was having super matches every single month, then I think his the desirability to see Devon compete on the table will start going down a little bit. So I'll say 4 super matches on the right arm and maybe a couple of super matches on the left arm in between those 4 events. That will be my ideal scenario for every arm wrestler, not just Devon. And Aditya and Richard basically asked the same question. Is Denis Siplankov thinking that Devon Larrett is very weak for him? Zaur, Morozov, David all can beat him, and yeah, the same thing was said by Richard as well. Are these same accounts or what? Usually opponents hype up usually arm wrestlers hype up their opponents before the matches, but this is not happening here. Dennis, yeah, he will say that Devon is a great arm wrestler, but looks like he's kind of underestimating him. I don't know what the reason for that is. Maybe Dennis still has some fresh memories of the 2018 left-handed match and he thinks it is going to go the same way on the right as well. But I sincerely doubt that ideology. I don't think Devon is the same person on the right arm, and I don't think Denis Siplankov is the same person either that he was in 2018. So I don't think Dennis said that, first of all. It was Babkan. Babkan always presents his own opinions as if Denis Siplenkov said that. So that's one problem that I and many others have with his translations. I don't think Dennis said that personally. Or maybe he did. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Why Devon talk about contract when Dennis talk about trust and understanding? He believes that he may not comply any agreements if he didn't sign the papers. So first of all, there are no contracts in East versus West, and Devon, it seemed to me as if Devon kind of accidentally mentioned that fact, and then he corrected himself later on, saying that there are no contracts in East versus West. First he was saying that we never signed a contract, and then he realized that, well, there are no contracts. Then he corrected himself. I think he should have cut that part out from the video. I'm not sure if there was any agreement, because clearly Engin announced the match is going to be in October. Dennis announced that. Even Devon himself, I read a comment that Devon uploaded a video, a short, see you in October or something like that. So Devon himself announced that the match is going to happen in October. Now I'm not sure how he can deny that the match was never agreed upon to be taking place in October. Whatever the case is, if they had any such deal I don't think you're asking about Devon taking too many super matches, so only that part. Yeah, if there is an understanding, there is a mutual agreement between them that the matches are going to happen in October, then I think they should both agree on that or honor that agreement, in my opinion. And it looks like there must have been an agreement from what we have been hearing from Engin, Dennis, and sometimes Devon himself. What happens if Devon got flash pinned by Dave in a row in upcoming match? That's an interesting point. I think the Denis Siplenkov match can get cancelled after that. Dennis, I'm not sure if he's going to cancel that or not, because then Dennis will think that he can beat Devon easily now. He'll gain more confidence, and it will still be a big money match, big hype up match. So I think Dennis will still have that match, but yeah, it will look bad on Devon because he's beating the 115 kg guys, and if he keeps on losing to the super heavyweights, Levan, Gennady, Dave, probably Dennis as well, it wouldn't look good on him. Devon needs to win these super heavyweight matches, or he needs to stay in 115. Why Dennis think that Devon is weak? Okay, we already answered that question. Have you ever considered going undercover as a female athlete to expose the sexism in sports? First of all, I read your comment at least 2-3 times. I wasn't able to understand exactly what you're trying to say, but I'll give my opinion. I am all in for men competing in female categories or female competing in male categories. Let the girls box with Tyson Fury. I'm all up for that. Let Michael Phelps compete in women's Olympics, or let me compete against female arm wrestlers. I am all up to that. I'm all up for it. And I absolutely love that concept. Why? Because first of all, I think this concept in US that men can just identify as women and compete in their categories, that's absolutely insane. To teach them that they are stupid, I think these things need to be allowed. There are some people who are really dumb. I'll say they're really dumb, who are protesting against men in female sports. No transgenders in sports. No, let them compete. Let them destroy the females. Let the females get destroyed when they compete against men. Only then they will understand the biological differences, and let them learn the hard way. I may identify as a 70 kg female world champion. I don't know. Maybe I can do that if I train a little bit. First of all, I'll identify as being 70 kilos while being 85, and then I'll identify as a female, and then I'll beat the world champion. Whoever is the world champion at 65 or 75, Irina Gladkaya, 65 kilos, I'm coming for you. Is it reasonable for Devon to have other matches even though he had a verbal agreement with Dennis? So yeah, the second part of that same question. I don't think he had a verbal agreement with Dennis that he will be pulling him in October. If that was the only part of the agreement, then yes, it is okay for him to pull as many matches as he want. Maybe not really close to a match, like 1 month before the match, because then there are chances of not recovering well. Even if you're not injured, then you may not recover well, then that's not a good idea. But anything more than a month, I think it's reasonable unless they had such agreements. And even if they had such agreements, then Devon got a good, reasonable offer, then it would have made sense for him to arm wrestle before that as well. But he should keep his word to arm wrestle in October if there was any such agreements made. So that's about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll make a community post. Please check that community tab and vote for your option, which number of Captains of Crush I can close, 2 or 2.5. Let me know. My name is Pradeep and I thank you so much for watching.